It's the Miguel and Holly Uncensored podcast.
Only on Hot 101.5.
Hey! Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Hey.
Oh, it's easy.
We are live on the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel.
Yep.
We want you to. You're trying to make sure the audio is working. Hold on, let me do.
No.
Hello.
I mean,
Okay, it's working.
Nice.
I'm good. I just
Hello?
unplugged and plugged back in, but I don't know
We're
how
good.
Good I look right now.
You can watch us on the YouTube channel, and you also can get tickets for Miguel and Holly live.
That's right.
Miguel and Holly live October 21st at the Ritz. Any
Get
more?
tickets now at hot1015tampabay.com. Just click on Miguel and Holly live or download the free Hot 101.5 app.
Mm-hmm.
Before I get into what I wanted to talk about today, we brought this up on the show today because we were talking about the social network where you can make the most money,
Yes.
and it said TikTok.
Yes.
Then we talked, and I asked, funnily, knowing that, Facebook is a dumpster fire.
Yes.
But we talked about Facebook, and then I threw out the idea, if we created a group inside of the Miguel and Holly Facebook page, would people join? And so it would be a place where, like, we'll get DMs of someone saying, hey, I have a GoFundMe. Can you post about it? And normally we'll post on like Twitter, but then it goes away so quickly.
Yeah.
Or someone will say, hey, I have this new business, but I don't know if I have enough money to advertise on your radio station. Can you advertise? And we're like, no, we can't. But then if you're just posting on this group,
It
it's
just
a way
goes.
for you to do it.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of like a place for the fam to communicate. So I'd be wondering if you and part of the Platypus Posse would be interested in something like that. Because there's so many times where, especially for me, when I get messages that I'm not 100% sure on how I can help in that moment, it just sort of sits there on red. And it's not that I don't want to help. I'm just like, I don't know what best way to do it.
I hate that because it's like when you open Instagram DMs, you have to respond immediately
Oh, I just
with
click- I
the
do on
right
that run red.
answer.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah, there is that, but it's like
But then they know you've still read it,
they
though.
do. They
Dude,
saw
I thought
that.
that goes away.
No,
I
it
don't
doesn't.
know,
We
but-
got to test that because I do that all the time.
Well, that's the problem because I don't always have a ready-made answer, or sometimes I accidentally click something and it's late at night,
That's the
and it turns
worst.
into be like a 5 scroll-up story with no punctuation, and I'm like, I don't even know what you're asking, and how do you want what? And then it's like sometimes it's a story where it's like, can you please help? And I'm like, I hate to just be like, no.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes it is just no.
But also it's no. And then a lot of people are like, well, can you promote my GoFundMe? And I try to be open with this where I'm like, if we promoted your GoFundMe, we'd have to promote every
Everybody.
person's GoFundMe.
Yes.
And do you know the show would then turn into
A GoFundMe show.
Right.
Miguel and GoFundMe.coms.
Right. I mean, and they run the gamut of what people need help for. Like sometimes, and I guess in the scope of seriousness, where someone will be like, I'm trying to raise money for this trip.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's valid for you. But then someone's like, my cousin was shot and we're trying to raise money for their hospital bills.
Yeah.
So it sort of runs the gamut in what we get. And so maybe this Facebook group would be a better place to sort of facilitate those sort of things.
I don't see why not.
So you can help. Holly, you look hesitant.
Again, I'm afraid that it just becomes a sea of GoFundMes. And does that help anybody? I mean, maybe it helps you to feel like you posted it somewhere.
I'm about to say, at the end of the
resource.
day, that's for you and the audience to decide. And it's I would rather do something than just do nothing.
Right. And that's what I'm just saying, do it, not do it.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no good answer. There's just not. And it'll be there as a resource. I like it. Who's going to police the comments?
That's what I was going to say. Like, somebody's also going to have to manage it and make sure that things are going smoothly and nobody's like being a troll or being a
Even though the
douche.
point is good vibes only.
Facebook is Facebook and people
Ugh.
sometimes suck there.
We'll see.
We'll see.
I will.
It's not about it. I mean, it's free to do. You could just set it
Right.
up.
I
And
mean,
just
and
have
it-
the
listen,
Miguel and Holly fam group. And
Here's the thing. If it gets crazy, I'll just click delete.
Shut it down.
We'll just be like, all right, girl, sorry. We tried to help people out.
we try to have something nice, and you probably did.
Right.
This is why we can't have nice things.
We tried to have a little Miguel and Holly fam group inside of the Miguel and Holly Facebook page, but if it turns into something crazy, delete.
And you could have a thing where it's like you have to be accepted into the group. Like, I mean, obviously you would request to get in, and then somebody can manage it and be like, okay, accept. And you have to accept to a thing of terms. Like, I've done that in groups where it's like, okay, here's your list
Yeah.
of terms. if you don't abide by this, like, you will be kicked out of the group.
Okay. Well, let me look into it over the next couple of days, and then I'll see exactly. I've never set one up before, so we'll see exactly how to go about doing that.
Not a bad idea.
I'm just curious who is going to run this because, like, you need more stuff to do online.
Gosh, yeah, it
You
takes
can't
a
even
toll
respond
on your
to
psyche.
your own DMs, Miguel.
I know. I just opened up my Instagram to send Scott a message to see if this whole thing works about if you click on red.
Mhm.
Actually, get your phone while I'm saying this. But then I was like, I spent, especially since Abe has been out of town in September, every night after I like eat dinner, I watch a show. Instead of like usually Abe and I would watch another show. I'm like, all right, you get an hour. You're gonna just respond to messages. That's it. And like, I still have not gotten to the like end of unread messages. It's just like I keep scrolling and scrolling. But I'm trying. He's got another week till he's back, so I'm trying.
Oof.
So Scott, it says that you have seen it. My message. I said, hey.
Oh, you did?
And then did you click unread?
Yeah.
It still says seen.
That's awkward. So anybody that's seen my messages and I said seen, well, again, like usually what you just said is like, if I open it up and it's like way more than I was ready to take in,
Yeah.
I go back and I just unread it. One, because I was hoping that it didn't say I saw it, but also so it still is like highlighted in my messages so I don't miss it.
Right.
But that's shocking. I didn't know it said or seen already. So that kind of sucks. Dang, that stinks. Oh, that is so awkward.
Sorry.
It is.
Oh,
It
that
is.
is so. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it sucks. But like, I get it because if I were to, I've done that before too. And if I don't, there's for sure no way I'm going to respond because I
Right.
don't know where it went.
Oh, yeah, I have to unread it at that point, but that's awkward. Okay. The whole purpose was so people didn't think I already saw it, and I'm just ignoring it because I'm never ignoring it.
They
I'm
said
just putting it
synced.
off until I have an answer. Oh, that is.
And you know, somebody took a screenshot of it and they said, I sent Scott a message and he read it and he never responded to me.
Well,
and they
you
took
know
a
what? That
screenshot where
does
it says,
happen.
Scott seen 2 hours ago.
That happens. It's just, you can get trapped into it. As you were just saying, like to take an hour out of your day every day to respond to messages, like that's bonkers. Like I take my time, but like that's usually if I'm on the toilet or something. And I'm like, all right, let me go ahead and go through some messages. Or if I'm on the Stairmaster at the gym, that's my time where I'm like, all right, I'm going through this. This is already a grind. This will take my mind off of it already for a little bit. And I respond. I always try to respond to as many as I can.
Yeah, same.
But I don't, and we've talked about this before, but I wouldn't hope that you don't beat yourself up over not being able to respond to all, where it's like, I feel like I'm letting people down. It's like, for me, I don't, because it's like the same thing where it's just an influx of everything in life where it's like, sometimes that's going to be missed. And that's the same with people's text messages, people's emails. But it is hard because you feel like people are reaching out and they want to reach out for you. But in the grand scope, if there's 150 people reaching out at the same time, it's going to be very hard to reach out back to everybody because for them, it's just one person. For you, it's 150.
It's true. But at the same time, I feel like it's now a job requirement. Like it's not before where it was like when Holly and I first started and, we were on MySpace, and it was just like, oh, it's just something you do. And like you had 1 or 2 people. I mean, now it is a legitimate, like I believe that radio stations should hire a social media manager.
That would be.
I'm sorry. The fact that
better
radio
thing.
stations have decided not to do that
Right.
speaks to the industry at large.
Well, they just look to us as millennials, Gen Zers and go, oh,
Not like
y'all
you create
do it.
content anyway.
It's like, oh yeah, like 5 years, like when we first started here at Hot, I feel like I could have been proficient in being a social media manager.
You were
5 years ago, but now there's so much more that I don't even.
There's
I'm
so
like,
many more platforms.
girl, even when I pull up the freaking creator studio on Facebook, I'm like, what are all these options?
y'all.
What?
I didn't even know Creator Studio was a freaking thing. I'm over here using the business suite.
Right.
And then we had to like something in one of our posts, like a picture had to come down and another one had to go up. And I'm like, it's already got an interaction. I can't just pull it down now. And so then I was getting mad because they were like, pull it down. And I'm like, it's basically the same. And they're like, no, pull it down. So then I emailed the head of the digital and I'm like, I can't, what do you want me to do? And he's like, well, if you use Creator Studio. And I'm like, I'm sorry. If I use what now?
Who? What studio?
Creator Studio. He's like, then he says like a screenshot. And he's like, here's Creator Studio. And I'm like, thanks. Got it now. Didn't even know about that. So, sorry.
I mean, that's why, like, literally, if we were like, one of those big shows that got paid a lot of money, we had a lot of people on the staff, I would literally have someone that would just do that.
Yes.
I mean,
That's an entire job.
right.
It
I was
is.
talking to a
Other
program
programs
director.
have that.
It's true. When I was talking to a program director at a morning show boot camp, and we were talking about just social media trends and how it's changed through the years. And, she's over just one radio station, and she's really good about helping her morning show because she has the time to do it.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, have you looked at your analytics? And I was like, we get a lot of comments and engagement. We respond back to people. And she was like, well, have you actually dug down deep to see what works and what doesn't work? And then how you feel like you're like you should know the answer. You should be like, of course I do. And I was like, okay, I don't do that. But and she goes, no, I'm just asking you that. I'm not attacking you. And I'm like, no, it's fine.
Well, you feel on the defensive because
I know.
you're like, no.
I was like, and she was like, well, do you create? And this is where I was just like, well, I fucking suck. She was like, do you create thumbnails when y'all put videos up on your Insta story or on your reels or on your YouTube channel? And I'm like, I'm sorry. There's only just so much.
It's busy.
So much. And she's like, I'm not attacking. I'm just saying
it's just,
these are some tools.
you could
that
literally
can
use your
to make
entire
it
day
better.
doing that. They're like, that's the
Right.
problem. Then that's only on some platforms. And then as we talked about earlier in the day,
Yes.
TikTok's the one like that. I had a whole thought in my head yesterday. I'm like, I need to drop everything else and just do TikTok.
Right.
Just go all in on TikTok because that's the one that's going to kick out every other thing.
Yeah.
It's where everyone is now going to. It's like we talked about today. People are getting paid the most. Like that is the next wave. Like Instagram is going to start slowing down because it's already shown that it has. Facebook is already a garbage fire. So a lot of the younger generation is turning away from that.
Yeah.
So TikTok, but we don't even have a TikTok for this station.
I see.
But I've seen station TikToks.
Yes, but we don't.
They're lame.
Yeah, but they're not
lame.
good though.
Oh yeah, no, there's
Yeah.
some that kick ass, and it's just when you're just able to do yourself and the stations in the background.
Yes,
Right.
That's
Right.
when.
because
That's what it is.
TikTok is for individuals.
Yes,
And any of these corporations or the brand trying to get on the TikTok,
it's
I
awkward.
have seen no success because it's a one-on-one platform.
You know who does good is the Washington Post. They do good TikToks.
I haven't
They
seen those.
And I talked to my buddy who's just working in the newspaper industry, and we're talking about how it struggles, and obviously people aren't going to the prints, but they're doing so much online, and some are actually just nailing it with being online on an online presence. Like the Tampa Bay Times kicks ass with Instagram,
Yes.
and the Washington Post, they're so funny and just relatable on TikTok. Where I'm like,
Who is running it?
just
They
some
hire,
dude.
and see, that's the thing. That right there is the fucking issue. And I'm sorry if this
Well,
is
you
so
need a face.
radio inside.
It's
But
so-
you know what though? This could be applied to any industry.
Yes.
If you are a business owner, if you're wanting to start a business, this is where you should spend money on.
Yeah.
The Washington Post, places like that, they hired probably one or two people to be the social media face. So they are the people that so when they're sitting in, so when you work in a newspaper, I used to back in the day in college, but it felt like a real one. You have what's called a budget meeting where you sit down and you say, all right, what are the top stories today? Here's Holly, you go cover this at the St. Pete Courthouse. Scott, you go cover this at Armature Works for this big event. So then they probably have that social media person say, hey, so why don't you take the top two stories, make some funny, relatable content, and then that's their job for the day.
Boom,
And so then people go
digestible.
back to those sites or they share the content and you bring them back to your website. That's what radio stations should be doing. They should have, we have 6 or 5 radio stations. They should have one person that is the face of it.
Of the online.
Online. So where they are like, all right, what was the top funny thing on the Miguel and Holly show? Boom. Here's the one for hot. What did Mike Calta do this morning for that? What did the Eagle do? Whatever.
I mean, it is true though. I mean, it is very insider right now, but that is
But it could be applied for any business.
it can
though.
be. And I think a lot of businesses, we hear commercials, anything for businesses that now have TikToks. And it's but you have to go about it in such a way that if I'm, 17 and I'm scrolling, I'm in the middle of a class in high school, I'm not going to watch you just going around your business. You got to get me with what I'm already interested in.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be about your business.
Well, and that's what I was telling Abe, my fiance who owns a painting company, is I was scrolling and I came across this guy who's a painter.
Mm-hmm.
Literally his TikTok had 1 million followers. And all it is when they mix the paint and it's just that beautiful, if they're putting
Yes.
a white and the
Swirl.
black and it's very
It's almost like
comforting.
ASMR.
Yes.
Aesthetically
or-
pleasing.
Yes.
And that's all it is.
Calming.
And I'm like, you all now granted they're a small company with just the two of them. So they don't have the budget to do that. But if they ever had a couple $1,000s to throw at somebody to maybe once a month follow them to a job, because people love before. There was a fucking TikTok account where literally the guy showed him cleaning up really, really bad, dirty cars.
Oh, I was going to say, I saw this, and I'm now following it. It's crime scene cleaners.
Yes.
Oh.
I follow that guy
my
in the bathrooms.
God, yes. And I couldn't stop watching because, and I also follow this woman who cleans grave sites. Not even anybody she knows. It's like,
Wow.
I'm talking from like the 1800s. She's like, here's Molly Jones. And from what I researched, and she's talking about this woman's life where she's cleaning the grave. And I'm like, I can't stop watching.
That's fascinating.
It is.
Actually.
But like watching the video of something go from one thing to the next,
It's so
that will never
pleasing.
not be interesting.
So I just feel like
That's
if
so
you
amazing.
have a business, so taking what we're talking about that's very inside about radio, take it and apply it to whatever business you own. Like I'm thinking about what's her face with the barbecue place?
Oh, Lori
Lori.
Q.
Lori Q. Like
Oh.
her food is so good.
Her TikTok, she's on TikTok.
Oh, is she? I haven't seen her. Oh,
She
perfect.
has a perfect TikTok because it's her sped up videos.
Oh,
She
perfect.
like lays down a slab of ribs.
And I bet she slap the meat.
She slaps
You gotta
it.
always smack your meat.
Yes, 'cause
Smack
And
she's
it's
your
a
always
meat.
like
mama.
it's like a sexual song, and so
Yes.
you see her, and it's like sped up, but it's like trimming all the fat. It's like prepping this fucking huge piece of meat for cooking, and then she gets to the whole thing, and then by the end of it, you're like, oh my god, I want that meat.
Heard that.
I'm gonna find her on TikTok. It's probably Lori Q on TikTok, but she does an amazing job with all her social medias
That's
because
perfect.
she does a lot of those like sped up, beginning to end. I'm gonna look just so I can make sure.
And I'm curious. I mean, but see, that's where I feel like it just takes a little time of, sitting down and thinking about what you could do for whatever business. Is that her?
Yeah.
Oh,
Look
that's
at that.
perfect.
Look at, and you just watch as the meat gets transformed.
And you
I'm
can
trying
see
to
this on our
what
YouTube
song it
channel.
is. Oh, this one's like, Mission Impossible.
Oh, look at that. She cutting open that big piece of meat.
Oh yeah.
We need to have her bring us some brisket. That
I
brisket she
I
brought that one
know.
time.
It's like the best barbecue I've ever had.
And like I honestly don't think I've ever had better barbecue.
No, she literally, but she's like
guys.
far out.
She is far out.
And
And you
she's from
guys,
like Wesley Chaplin.
I submitted her for Food Network.
Did you really?
I did.
Oh, that's so cool.
I didn't tell her anything because I
Right.
don't like obviously like I don't know what it takes to get picked, but I signed her up for diners, drive-ins, and dives.
You signed her up?
Yeah, I want Guy Fieri to come through. He
Oh
does
my
food
gosh.
trucks sometimes.
Oh, she would kick ass
I
on
know.
that.
I'm like, not only is the food phenomenal, which is like what the basis of a good restaurant, food truck, whatever.
Right.
But she's so sassy and she has such a great
Mhm.
personality that I'm like, she is made for a show like this. Cause like
yes.
we sometimes watch a lot of diners, drive-ins, and dives, guys' grocery games, whatever. And anyway, I was like, I found the email online and they're always taking submissions. And I was like, I would like to. So maybe she'll.
That is amazing. I love that
really-
you did that.
I really want it to happen. I don't know if it will.
I love it. But see, that is why if we made a lot of money and we could hire a couple more positions for this show, that is one that I would like invest in, is
That would be
having
number
someone.
one.
Because like we do our TikTok challenges, which are fun. It's fun for Instagram, but it's like a dedicated segment.
Yeah.
But like somebody to take what we do on a daily basis, like
Create
as we're
content
doing
for
the
it.
show and curating what we do and then making a TikTok every day for
You know what's
it.
interesting about it? I was just watching a TikTok, and it's so up in the air on how algorithms work, but
Yeah.
it also is kind of like a slot machine kind of algorithm where it's like you put out a bunch and one's gonna hit,
Yeah.
one's gonna hit, one's
Yeah.
gonna hit, and so it's a numbers game. And so if the less content that you have, it's gonna be harder to find that one that hits. But if you're pumping out just a bunch, it's just gonna be put on more people's radar where you're gonna have more that hit. And so it's interesting. So if somebody was able to do that, or if your business is just in general is able to just grab those moments and just put out more to a platform, again, you just have more chances to get in more people's eyes,
Oh, and-
especially with TikTok, because it's just anybody's eyes could see it across the world.
Because it's the For You page.
Yes.
I need to set this up, and then we'll move on to something else.
Are you
real
setting up
quick.
having Lori deliver us some barbecue?
Girl, I'm gonna work on that later. Oh God, what's her name on here? You've probably seen her videos before. Hold on, let me see. And I saw her videos all the time, and then I saw that she was actually in Tampa. Ah, gosh, she always
On TikTok?
Yes. I'm sorry. Hold on.
All right.
Well, it's a podcast, so we can
Just sit quiet.
just sit quiet. Just sit quietly amongst
If you
yourselves.
want to find Lori
Stop.
Q, I'm not getting paid for this, but if you want to find her, it is LAURIECUE.
Yeah, all
She's
just helping
on-
each other out.
She's on like Insta and everything, but the TikToks, I love it.
There's a couple big TikTok creators that live right here in Tampa Bay. Like, I don't know if you ever saw the one girl. It's like Kate or Katie. And she's like this mom that lives right here in Tampa Bay. And her TikTok is huge, like a top creator.
Oh,
And she just
no.
kicks ass. I see a lot of my friends even share her stuff on their Instagrams and stuff. I'm like,
Oh.
wow. And she lives right here in Tampa. I want to actually get her on.
What is it like she does? She's like mom stuff?
Mom stuff, but just fun stuff. She's like talks, like it's been a whole journey. Like she went through a divorce and everything, like on her TikTok. It was crazy. Like they used to do stuff together. Then she got real and she's like, we're splitting apart and she still has a kid and it's wild. But she's here in Tampa, which is wild.
Well, yeah, we should have like try to maybe like once a week or something like that, or every other week, get like a TikToker on that we know that listens to the show. I can't find her name now. And that's one of the reasons why we haven't had her on the show. Next time I come across her TikTok, I'll message her. But she's got like over 1 million followers on TikTok. And I think she's now even doing like sponsored content for like Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh. And are you saying she's a Tampa Bay creator?
Yeah,
Like
and so
their
she lives
mom?
here and she listens to the show.
Oh.
And I asked her one time, I was like,
yes. I know who you're talking about.
do you know who,
No, I can't. I don't even know. I never knew what her name is, but I have seen her. I just don't remember.
but anyway, once her stuff comes up again, I'm gonna ask her to come on with us just to talk about what it takes to do it, because at her level, I mean, you know, she was featured on the Dunkin' page as a sponsored post.
Oh, dang.
And so I'm like,
Damn.
girl must be getting paid right now. But like, how much content then do you have to pump out when you get to that level? Because I mean, it's
Probably
sort of
a
like
lot.
doing a radio show.
It's
We're
a
like,
lot.
we've got to do 4 hours of content every single day, 5 days a week.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's why so many creators end up making it their full-time job.
Yeah.
You're able to earn a lot of money, but you got to put in a lot of time.
You got to put
That's
in
what I
all the
learned
time.
about YouTube creators, which several years ago, before my daughter got into YouTube, I didn't understand how people were spending so much time on YouTube. Because for a long time, it was like YouTube was the leading platform where people were spending the most time.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, what are you watching? Videos? Like music videos? Like, what the heck are you watching?
How?
Then I came across the content creators, and my kid is still into watching YouTube. We've migrated finally over to YouTube Kids because some of the stuff is just not for kids, even if you have the restricted filter on. But there's these families that like that's their job. And it's tricky because it looks like real life. And I've said this before, but my kid's like, well, they just play all day. And I'm like, no, that's what they want you to think.
Mm-hmm.
They do. There's a family we love, A for Adley, out in like Utah or something. And one day they did a thing and the dad is so great. And the mom, I really like them a lot. We even have like some merchandise, okay, from these people.
Oh, wow.
One day though, the mom was like, we're gonna surprise dad and take him out to the lake or whatever. And he works as like a video game creator.
Whoa.
So they call it the space station. So
cool.
they go, and I don't even know when this video was from, but the kids like bum rush the dad, and you could kind of tell in the video that the dad really was not aware that this was happening, and it was not the best day.
Oh.
But like, that's your YouTube family.
That's
So
your
you're
YouTube
like, so
family.
he's like, can I at least get my briefcase? And they're like, no. And he's like, oh my God. And I was in that moment, I'm like, thank you for being a little bit real, where it's like, you have a job.
Right.
Because everything else on the channel is just like, we're this fun family that only does fun stuff with our kids.
Yeah, no
It
problems
starts to make
here.
you feel bad as a parent, and you're like,
Mm.
I can't do all this. Like, it's too much. But my kid loves it, watches it, and I've explained to her that's not real life. They do that for the video, and they're not playing all day.
Right.
They're just not. Like, dad's got to go to work at some point. Like,
Yeah.
mom's got to do stuff at the house. Like, so anyway, that's when I realized how much time it took these people, because it looks like this is nothing. I could do this. Yeah, if I want to dedicate an additional 8 hours a day
Yes.
Mhm.
to shooting, editing, posting these YouTube videos. And TikTok is the same. Like, it's quick, it's on your phone. But to edit the videos and to really make them look great for that 30 to 90 seconds,
It's a lot.
it's a lot of time.
Well, I mean, even like Abe and I had this one video that we did for the challenge go viral, and it's like at 146,000 follower or views.
Yeah.
And so then like we responded to some of the comments, and then some of those videos got like 26,000 views. And I was like, ooh, so that's the sweet spot. We're like the interracial gay couple, and like we'll do stuff like that. And I'm like, All right, so make every evening when you get home, we'll do like one quick video. Girl, there ain't no quick video. And by the time
There is no quick video.
and especially now, this was in the summertime. So this is, before he went to Buffalo, when he's outside in the Tampa sun day sweating. And then here I am like,
Hi.
do you want to do a TikTok and get lots of views?
And he's like, fuck yo, TikTok.
He's like, wait, is that TikTok going to make me quit my job and quit my business so I can do videos all day?
Maybe.
I'm like, I mean, there's
You gotta
possibility.
It's a
invest in it.
possibility,
It is.
but it's also a possibility that no.
Exactly, that it's just for fun and just get views. So we have not done that. Real quick, I do want to get this one question in.
Oh yeah.
Forgot
this wasn't the point of the.
I know, right?
This was not the point.
I just wanted to ask a question that I got. I did a little Ask Me Anything on my Instagram yesterday.
Yeah.
And someone asked me, if the world paused and you had time to get another degree, what would your major be?
Wow. Great question. Holy crap.
So I wanted to end the podcast with that question.
Kind of like how last year when the world did pause and people
Mhm.
actually did go do things like get second degrees.
Right. But if you knew like the time limit, because back then, remember when I was trying to find a video last night and there was a video. Oh, I was looking for a video of roommate Dylan. And it was like right the first couple of weeks during quarantine when everything was shut down. And I was like, only second week of quarantine. We only probably have a few more weeks to go. Hey, roommate Dylan. Little did we know.
Yeah, look at the date now.
Right?
We just didn't know. Well, nobody knew
Nobody
because
knew.
for the show, quick side tangent, I was going through old videos and I found the video that I did and we each did one. How are we preparing for quarantine? And I had stocked my freezer and I had gotten a couple extra toilet papers, but mostly they were empty. I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Preparing for hurricane coronavirus? Like, get out of here. Nobody knew. Nobody understood.
No, I got some oatmeal cream pies ready to go. Just in
that's
case.
gonna help.
Okay. Anyway, go ahead.
So what would your major be if you knew we had another, some time where we were locked down?
100% psychology.
Mm.
Not even in fact, I kind of want there to be a lockdown now so I could just do that without.
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I don't want a lockdown. I maybe will one day, go into that. I have a lot on my plate.
Yeah.
I don't honestly know where I would carve out time and energy. I don't know, but I would love it because I'm already so interested in it, and I already do like little researches here and there on my own just to learn about mental health, why people, and my thing is that I always want to know why people do things that they do. Why are people acting the way they act? It's all psychology. And so I would love to have, because if I say something, like if I try to like analyze why someone may have reacted a certain way, and I'll be like, well, did you ever used to deal with this? They'll be like, I'm sorry, are you going to come at me with your BA in communications right now? You have nothing to say. Whereas, a matter of fact, I did do actually a lot of research on XYZ topic, and I can accurately tell you, but like no one wants to take you seriously unless you have a degree in something.
Which is crazy, but yeah, because you can find everything on. Well, that's what's weird with our society side tangent of like you could learn everything right now that you need to just offline doing research on your own if you did it strategically, but you need a degree for the credentials
to prove that you did
Yeah.
Scott.
Mine would probably be, one, I have a couple ideas because I do want to make this happen eventually. It's like performance psychology anyway, because I do want to be a speaker and speak around the world. And I want to understand how people think and what makes them perform at their best and get them to their best. And so I want to understand how the human mind works. And again, have that credibility behind my name. But also, probably pretty soon, I want to get a degree in like physical training and nutrition. A degree in that, like a certification in that, because obviously, like I know, it's like you, Holly. It's like I know a lot in that area, but I need those credentials to help when I, create my own side hustle on this, helping people with their nutrition or working out or anything around that. I just want to be able to have that credibility behind my name to make sure that it's like it carries the weight of like, I do know what I'm talking about. Here's my credentials. Here's everything that goes along with it. And so I have had a lot of ideas or thoughts that I want to do like really soon because there's ways you can do it online. And I've seen a lot of people that did it last year. And I'm like, well, why don't I just jump into that? Do a couple classes like a day, steal a little time, and just a year from now have a degree in that.
You want me to be your first test subject?
I mean, I would love to like that kind of stuff like fires me the bleep up. Like
Really?
I love, oh my God. I used to train people like in college. Like I used to I've written out workout plans, nutrition plans. I love that stuff. But I think the root of it is I love people helping them get to their best self. Like that's why I want to be a speaker and work in nutrition and performance and all that. Like I love that stuff. It fires me so far up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, are you really good at it?
Thanks, Holly.
You're good at that.
You want
I
to
do
write
that.
me a nutrition plan?
I could like, well,
But
okay.
I'll tell you though, I'm a challenge because obviously
I know. Well, that's the
I'm a
biggest
picky
thing.
eater. So usually when I have worked with people to help me with my nutrition, because it's like I know what to do. I
Mhm.
just need that accountability of having to check in once a week.
Well, that's the hard balance of as well. It's like I could hold you accountable, but also we have a friendship there where it's like, are you going to get pissed and is it going to ruin the friendship? Where it's like,
No, not at all. I never get pissed. I need, like right now, I'm like half in, half out when it
Mhm.
comes to my nutrition, where I'm doing the right things, but those, like, there's a certain point in the day where either I choose to like go in the light or go in the dark. And half the days I'm choosing the light, and I'm like, all right, you don't need to get this or that. You don't need to get some Kit Kat bars. But then, like, especially the past couple weeks when things have been a little stressed in life,
Yeah.
I'm choosing the dark side. And so when I have someone that keeps me accountable, that's always in the back of my mind where I'm like, but wait a minute, see, because at the end of the day, I'm a teacher's pet.
Yeah.
And I'm a people pleaser. And so I like that
That's very
reinforcement.
unhealthy. God, that's very unhealthy. Not only are you using food to manage your emotions, but then you're also using the way that you're damaged, which is people pleasing. And I'm not saying damaged as in like you can't, because if you are loving to yourself, you can give yourself tools to not people please. Terrible about it. But like, so it's like this vicious cycle of like,
Hello, why do you think I've been on this fucking ride for 36
I know.
years?
You're like, okay, well, I know what to do, but I'm going to use food as an emotional thing. Well, I won't do that as long as I can people please and make someone else happy. And then like,
It's a cycle. It is
Yeah.
a definite cycle that I know. At least I understand it now.
Yes.
And I get it. But like, it is something that I don't know. That's just it is what it is for right now.
I know.
But right now, like I said, I'm 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And I've been thinking of like getting someone or having a nutritionist or something to just keep me accountable.
Check in with you.
Between now and the wedding, just because
Maybe you could be Scott.
That could, I mean, again, it could be that. Like, if that's what you need is the check-ins, like, I have no problem bringing it up because what has happened, I put this on my Instagram yesterday, is like, I go through phases where, again, just like in your normal life, you're going to have days where it's going to be easier and harder. But at the same time, there has to be a moment where you're just like, you know what? I'm done. Like, I'm going all in, no doubt, because I need this to happen. And so it's about literally discovering what is that why that's going to get you to be like, all right, this day is tough, but I'm not going to give in to that junk that's going to make me feel like crap and not get me toward my goal. Because that's what I'm going through right now. I'm literally at a point in my life and my body where I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel like myself. And I'm like, you know what? I looked at myself literally this past weekend in a couple pictures. I was like, the fuck are you doing? Like, it's time to get back on your track. And it is, I know. In my brain, it's going haywire right now. Just a little insight with how I feel.
Something wrong with you too.
I know, but it also, okay, like I guess a little backside is like I'm heavier than I've ever been right now. And that's that's okay.
Is that not partly muscle?
Yes, but also it's not. It's also, like my body percentage of fat has gone up a little bit. And again, I'm not mad at it, but except there's a turning point. And that's when I saw a picture of myself this past weekend where I wasn't happy with how I was.
Okay.
And for me, that was my okay, you keep talking about it, you keep wanting to be about it, but like you got to go all in or else don't fucking talk about it. Like that's how I negotiate with myself. Like if I'm going to get on and put out these videos and want to be a speaker, like I got to live by the ways that I want to speak. And so that's kind of like in another person's case, like what is your end goal? Like what do you want to be at? And have to keep that as a reminder every day on the dial. And there are some days where it's like, you know what? Like I will have my day where I get to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Like I absolutely will. But even off the air, when we're talking about, getting a pizza the other, like that's not in my regimen for this week.
That chacaroni looks so good.
But
we have been talking about this fucking shakaroni for like 3 days now. And today specifically, we've probably had 3 separate conversations throughout the morning about the shakaroni.
They make that, you know what? Whoever their marketing agency is, they did a damn
They
good
look
job
good.
in
They
creating
did.
that pizza because it looks fucking delicious.
It does. But like, again, like with your conversation, like that's not in my regimen for this week. I'm like, nope, that is put off. And again, I don't even necessarily agree with this is the healthiest way to go about it mentally, because I've heard other dietitians talk about, like don't take access away from food for you, but you got to do what's best for you at the same time. And that's for me. Like this weekly thing is like, okay, I stay strict all week.
Yourself.
And then like, I could dabble on like a Sunday and I won't feel guilty, but I have to get to my goal. Like enough is enough. And so if that's what you need, that accountability to just be checking in, like, all right, where's your mind at? Where do you want to eat right now? Like, do you need that reminder of like, hey, it's going to be worth it in 3 months? Like that's the long goal for me that I keep reminding myself of, because we want this immediate change. Like I worked out today. I worked out this week. I don't see the immediate changes.
We really want immediate change.
But if you just keep going at it, you're like, okay, 3 months from now, that is going to be so much more worth it than if I just keep doing the same fucking cycle of like, I work out for a couple of days, I eat like shit, and I go back to where I just started. Like it's that. And that's where that accountability could come in. I have no problem doing that because I'm doing that with myself hardcore right now. So it's like, if I just need to bring it up more open, that's cool.
But will you brush Scott off?
No, it would have to be when he moves out. It couldn't be living together. I couldn't. That would be too
could
close.
Could you take it seriously?
Oh yeah, because once I commit to something, I'll do it. Which is why I haven't committed to anything, is because like I have so many tabs open of just like, all right, let me go to this person who I know can help keep me accountable. But then I'm like, I kind of want to do it. I don't know. I'm kind of stressed out.
Well, it is also hard to take like the full plunge.
Right.
To get yourself to be like, yes, okay, fine, I need help. I do.
Right. And then just knowing that like right now in this particular season of life, it is so fucking nuts right now. And so I know that, I will say throughout my years of learning, like when I do turn to food for comfort, it's not what it used to be, where it used to be like double quarter pounder with cheese, large fry, 10 chicken McNuggets, Diet Coke, and 3 cookies. Now I'm like, all right, let's go get a wrap at Publix, and you're going to get a little small thing of baked chips. And so like that is like my, okay, it's making me feel comforted just from that little thing. So it's gotten better.
Yeah.
But I also have noticed that my backsliding in like, if like on the weekends, if I know if I'm going to have like burgers and fries, I'm like, all right, we'll take the bun off.
Yeah.
But then I'll be like, but
there's
this
trade-offs you can make.
Right. But then recently it's been less of the like, well, I'll do that tomorrow. Today I'll have everything.
That's what you got to.
Right. And
it's
so
that's quick for your mind to just want to give in and be like, you know what? Fuck it. It's fine.
Right.
In reality, it's like, that's the opposite. It's like, no, wait, as long as I push to this moment, it's easier. Like as long as I just say no right now, it's easier. But it starts to creep, and it's a continuous daily battle.
It really is.
Right. And for me right now, like I'm not trying to, lose 30 pounds before my wedding. I just want to feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to feel good. That's what I told when we went suit shopping. I'm like, I want to be able to move. I don't want to, be tugging on my shirt and feeling like, ooh, don't take pictures from that angle. I just want to feel comfortable when I'm up there and, going throughout the day. That's it. That's all I'm looking to do. So,
to get us back on the track really quick, Miguel, what is the
degree
what's the degree that you want? Because I just
I got fired up.
No, I know you did. And I feel like
a little bit.
We're solving some problems right now.
I know, right?
But I forgot what the point was.
Well, on my Q&A, I said graphic design and politics.
Two separate things.
Yeah, I would have to choose one, but it would either be graphic design, because I used to dabble in it when I used to be working newspapers in college. And my favorite part was not the actual writing of articles. It was assigning and brainstorming stories, and then also creating the layout for the newspaper.
Okay.
That was my favorite part of like just being in my newspaper office, having some music on, and then just fucking creating a layout. Especially when I redesigned a newspaper once, that was really fun, but I lost those skills a long time ago. So I'd love to know the technical side of graphic design again, to be able to do that. And then I love politics. I absolutely love politics. So I'd love to go deeper into political theory and how it all works and how the system works, so I can speak more eloquently and intelligently on it and possibly go into it. in the future.
Which is really cool though, because I noticed with you, Miguel, like you listen to a lot of stuff and you read a lot of stuff that's already giving you so much knowledge around those areas where it's like, again, it's like the same thing. Like, and I think about this with the degrees I want to get. Like if I just took like 30 minutes every day and I just put a little bit of time toward those things, like eventually you have this huge array of stuff instead of like, oh my gosh, it gets overwhelming thinking like I got to go to classes and put in homework. Like you already know probably a lot more than you did like a year ago because I
Right.
noticed like your listening habits have like gone up through the roof about history or politics or news, where it's like even when we speak on things on the podcast or the show, like the knowledge is just like so much more there,
Right.
which is crazy from just adding that like little habit.
Yeah. I mean, because I used to listen to just a lot of different morning shows. And then when life just got really heavy last year, oh God, over a year and a half ago, after George Floyd, and just listening to other morning shows talk about stupid shit just didn't feel important to me anymore.
Yeah.
And that's when I turned to more news podcast and then also just a political opinion podcast because I like to listen to the here's what's happening.
Yeah.
And then I like to understand why my side of the aisle thinks it through from like a realist, like one of the big podcasts I listen to. There are 3 guys that used to work in the Obama administration. And so they're very real about it. They're like, hey, this is the liberal point of view. We know we feel this way, but here's how they're getting it wrong now in office. And here's why they're getting it wrong.
Oh.
And so to me, I like that instead of just having like just some random like liberal person who's like, oh, fuck it, I hate all conservatives. I feel like they're not totally wrong.
No,
It's just that here's a better way of blah, blah, blah. So anyway, so yeah.
but I
that's
say
right.
that all to say like those things that we talk about learning, like there's other ways that we could just add to our array of knowledge for it. It doesn't
Right.
have to be like I'm going back to school tomorrow. It's that, you know, I'm dedicating 20 minutes today to just reading about this topic and that's it. And so this way it's like I'm a little closer to my goal. I'm a little, because eventually you're just going to continue to push it off. Like that's what I think with these degrees already. It's like I don't want to just keep saying I'm going to get a degree. I'm going to say I'm just going to do a little research today.
Right.
And I'll just get a little more knowledge until eventually it's like I do feel like I have the credentials and the knowledge to actually back up what I'm saying and believing.
All right. Well, when you move out, let's chit chat about you keeping me accountable.
Yeah,
We'll do it.
I'm about that.
All right. Let's get out of here. I got some stuff to do.
Oh, okay.
Scott, what's your social media?
At Scott Tavlin, SCOTTTAVLIN.
And remember, if he leaves you on red, he will come back to your message
Eventually
at some
I will.
point.
Or message me again. Like that's fine too. If it's been like a couple days and you're like, hey, just want to
Especially
see.
if it's like a question.
Yeah, like if you're
Mhm.
like, hey, like, did you see this? I might not have. I might have just opened really quick and like passing and just it was too overwhelming at the moment. And then it got lost in the jumble.
Yeah.
Holly, what's your social media?
Radio Holly on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram.
Mine is Miguel Fuller, MiguelFuller. And you know what? We are out of stickers.
Oh, snap.
Uh-oh.
We have run out.
Bye, stickers.
Bye. Sorry, we're done. We love you. We'll get some at some point. But be looking forward to that Miguel and Holly Facebook group that we will figure out here on the Miguel and Holly Facebook
we'll
page.
figure that one out.
We will. It'll be fun. It'll be
That'd be
fun.
awesome.
But get your tickets for Miguel and Holly Live October 21st at the Ritz Ybor, Hot 1015 TampaBay.com.